Gallifrey, home for the Doctor. When faced with his own people, the Doctor must make his moves to take control, or get destroyed by the powers of Rassilon. Can Clara survive her imminent death? Will the Raven really take her down? What secrets do the Doctor and Clara still share? And who is that at the end of time? Get ready for our review today in the Vortex.
Broadcast amplitude at maximum capacity. Transmitting through time and space in 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the Vortex.
Voices from the Vortex Reviews, Series 9, Episode 12, Hellbent.
Hey guys, this is Matt.
And this is Taylor.
And this is the last episode for Series 9.
Yes, and what an episode it was.
Whew.
I loved it. I thought it was fantastic.
Yes, indeed. I am over the moon about this episode. Over however many planets it takes to get to Gallifrey. I am definitely over that many planets for this episode. Guys, we have been sitting here talking. We've been doing the show for over 3 years. We have talked endlessly about how much Gallifrey is a part of the Doctor's life and how much it matters. And dear God, Gallifrey restored in the heavens, Gallifrey doing its thing as it always does, and the Doctor just taking advantage of it. And it was glorious.
Yeah, I mean, it was really, I've seen a lot of the some of the classic Who now where he goes to Gallifrey, and it's the same. It's you have all the same stuff was in there that we've seen in some of these classic Gallifrey episodes, and the way he interacts with them was all the same. It was great.
So there's a lot to talk about in this episode, so
Yes.
I guess we'll just start going through the rundown here, because there is so much.
Yes.
First and foremost, ladies and gentlemen, the return of the one and only Rassilon. Woo!
That's
Hello! Right. And he's banished.
And he's out of there.
And he's out of there. So long, Rassilon.
Yeah.
I was wondering if they would really bring him back. Obviously they didn't get Timothy Dalton to do it, but the last time we saw him, he was getting electrocuted by the Master, so regeneration couldn't have been far behind.
Right. Yeah, I wasn't sure. I was thinking maybe this guy was just the new president, but no, and then they didn't say his name for the longest time until, right before he was banished. He was like, I'm Rassilon.
Just to make sure everybody knew who didn't read the script.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I'll go now, but I'm Rassilon. I gotta go. And as the ship's flying off, I'm Rassilon.
I'm Rassilon.
And that's a great setup for future seasons.
Yeah.
Rassilon can return and be a terrifying villain, try to take power at Gallifrey, or just try to destroy the Doctor.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that would be a neat...
He's old.
Well, I was a little disappointed with Rassilon, just a little bit that he wasn't a bigger figure in this, but I'm okay with it because we had the episode took a different turn from what I thought it was going to be, and I loved it. So it wasn't about Rassilon. So I would love to see Rassilon come back though later and be a force to be reckoned with.
Now remember, for those of you who haven't seen Old Who, Rassilon is one of the founding members of Time Lord Society. He is as old as the species itself, and after many years of ruling as a horrible ruler, his own people, the Time Lords, rose up against him and overthrew him and locked him away. The only real time we had ever seen him was from the 25th anniversary special. That may or may not have been Rassilon, we don't know, but the eternal life granted to people in a very Machiavellian way, and right there in the middle of the death zone in the games of Rassilon. So Rassilon is sort of just this word. It's like the Voldemort of the Doctor Who universe. They dare not speak his name, or else he might come back. So when we saw him again in the new show, him leading the High Council, and during the Time War, it was like, oh God, here it is. The Time Lords were so desperate that they called in possibly the worst choice to lead them.
Yeah,
and it was the best choice, of course. That was the point. But it was good. It was good to see that his. I loved watching all the soldiers turn on him. Loved it.
Yeah, that was really great.
The Doctor didn't have to say anything. Oh, it was great.
Yeah.
They were afraid of the Doctor.
Yeah. Well, they were like, he's who does he think he is? He's the man who won the Time War. He was. The Doctor, his reputation preceded him, and they turned on him right away. And I loved, all the Doctor had to say was, "Get off my planet," and that's all he said. It was the only interaction they had at all. So yeah, he banishes Rassilon, and he banishes all the rest of the High Council. So there's nobody there. So he's de facto becomes president for a little bit,
or at least he's just given the power because nobody contests it. Yeah. I'm sure there's plenty of reasons for him not to be president of Gallifrey, but at that point in time, what are they going to do? He had literally banished the most powerful Time Lords in the universe. That was good. That was. I love that he just sort of... What was that line that David Tennant says? Someone says, why are you taking orders from him? And he just turns and he says, spooky, isn't it? He just grabs power.
Yes.
That's great.
So Gallifrey is leaderless now. No,
now, where could a group of people have talked about the possibility of Gallifrey needing a new leader? I'm trying to think... Where online could people have heard about possibly an election on Gallifrey?
Possibly.
Wink, wink. Nudge, nudge.
We're talking about our show. If anyone...
Just go back and listen to the monthly podcast, guys. We've been writing about this for the last year. There's going to be an election on Gallifrey in our continuity and our stories. It's clearly Moffat listens to the podcast and likes our ideas. That's the only answer.
So we also have in this episode a gender swapping regeneration.
Good.
Finally. Well, I think it's for all those people who still are like, it could never happen, or still somehow trying to find a way to make it that it's not the Master, Missy is somebody else. It's like, no, look, this it can happen. We watched it happen. There it is.
Well, and it's a good point that Time Lords and gender, they don't see gender the same way we do. We're stuck in our gender. We are who we are, without major surgery. Most of us, all of us are born and it's sort of decided for us, except for a very small percentage that gets a chance to be both. There you go. So it's one thing to say, well, it wouldn't happen. Well, yeah, it would. These are people who are literally born and who can change their bodies to anything they want.
Yeah.
Of course they could swap. They'd probably want to. They'd want to try it out. They'd want to, just to see what it's like, and then realize that you can go back and forth. Gender doesn't mean the same thing to them that it does to us. What was Missy went on at the beginning of the season about her relationship with the Doctor was a friendship, and Clara was insinuating that it might have something to do with romantic love, and Missy says, oh, you don't understand, you couldn't possibly understand the kind of friendship that we had. I believe that. There's no way to truly understand how two Time Lords connect, because they can be whatever they want.
Yeah. Well, and I loved the, this was the general that we had seen in the 50th anniversary. And
Old crusty white man.
Old crusty white man. And I loved that once it regenerated into the African-American woman, and then it was she was Oh, that last body. The only time I'm back to normal, aren't I? Oh, that's good. Only time I've ever been a man. That last body. Like it was like that. Her being the man was this anomaly, and
Right.
in her, usually she was this type of person. This is pretty funny.
I do like they're both bald though.
Yes,
It's like,
keeping
who
it
needs
with
hair?
keeping the hairstyle. It's perfect.
And I hope we see more of her. I hope we see more. Well, I hope we see more of Gallifrey and the Time Lords. I sincerely do. But I hope we see more of her because she's an interesting. Now that we're starting to develop the character, what did the Doctor said? How many is this? Right before he shot him. How many is this? And he said something like 7. And he said, "Good luck," and bam, shoots him.
Yeah.
So he was saying how many regenerations? Where are we at now? I'd love to see the backstory for this character. I'd love to see the character fleshed out more and to understand who she is and, what her reasons are and her purpose are and going forward, what she wants to do with Gallifrey. Because clearly she's the one left in charge now.
Right. Some other great things, Gallifrey things. They talked about the Matrix, which is
The
cool.
Matrix, Neo.
Yes.
Okay.
And I love these, like, it's a computer made of ghosts guarded by more ghosts.
It's a very complicated idea.
Yes. Then he went through this long explanation, and she's like, no, seriously, like, I'm dumb, explain it to me. So then that's the explanation we get.
If any of you out there want to learn more about the Matrix and what it is, there's some great old Doctor Who stories you can watch. Invisible Enemy, which Taylor, you and I have reviewed before. Invasion of Time, which you and I have reviewed before. The Five Doctors, which I don't think we've reviewed yet.
No, I don't think so.
We need to. And Trial of a Time Lord, which was an entire season of the Sixth Doctor.
Mm-hmm.
It has to do with the Matrix, Neo. So it's basically, it's a big deal. It's a big thing. It is the computer, the thing that gives the Time Lords infinite wisdom. It gives them this unlimited database for millions of years to record the history of the universe. And it uses living things to do it. I think that's such a grotesque and amazing idea.
Yeah.
The Matrix.
Well, and I loved all of the bad guys, like, caught in the Matrix. Like, all the monsters that had come and tried to, like, invade Gallifrey at some point, all caught in there.
Tried to sneak into the Matrix, yeah.
So my final thing about Gallifrey that I want to talk about is where it was. Its location.
Where was
So it just turned
Gallifrey
out-
this whole time?
Yeah, it just turned out Gallifrey was inside you all along. That's my favorite.
When the
No,
Doctor's
turns out Gallifrey-
heart grew 2 sizes bigger, it could fit through. And it came back. That so should have been the story, is the Doctor plays his version of the Grinch Who Stole Christmas, but it was the Doctor. And when he grew, and his heart grew 2 sizes bigger, the people of Whoville, which is Gallifrey, came back.
Yes. But really...
That was not it at all. That was not it at all.
No, really, it was just at the end of the universe.
Well, it wasn't... No, it was like... It was billions of years in the future.
Right.
That's not the end of the universe.
Yeah.
It's not even close to the end of the universe.
It was very close, is what they said. I was like...
No, because the Doctor... Don't you remember from Season 3? The Doctor goes to the end... To Utopia, right? To the end of the universe. He says it's trillions of years.
Oh, well, I don't... Whatever. I don't know. They... Yes.
It was just billions of years in the future.
They did...
That's all.
No, they said at the end of the universe. In the episode.
No, he goes to the end of the universe. After that.
Well, I know that, but
Oh.
he goes even farther to the end. I thought that Gallifrey was near the end of the universe, is what...
Well, it's billions of years in the future. I mean, everything else is gone and dead in that time anyway. So I guess it doesn't really matter. The difference between where Gallifrey was and the actual end of the universe that the Doctor goes to several times now is inconsequential. If it was 1 billion years more or 1 trillion years or whatever's after that, it wouldn't matter because nothing happens in that time.
Right.
So,
Well,
all right,
my
sure.
point. Yeah. Well, my point is, it was just there, and like he just happened to have not. He just happened to have not found it. You know what I mean? Like.
Well, now, let's be fair. He didn't, get in his TARDIS, go to the coordinates of Gallifrey, go all the way back to the beginning of the universe, and then travel all the way to the end of the universe just to see if it was there. That would be silly. That would be like saying, I know for a fact this one particular gas station is on Highway 70 all the way across the country. I'll just get in my car at one end, drive all the way to the other just to see if I can find it. No, he's like, I'll find it eventually. One of these days on a trip out there somewhere. That's really what it was.
That's what he did in Hyde. He just in the same place, and he went to a bunch of different. But
okay,
yes,
well,
I just like
Matt Smith had more of a temperament for that.
I was hoping for more. I guess I don't know. It was just like, it was just there. There was no, explanation of like how did they come back. Even at one point, I think it was like, well, Clara said, "How did they do it?" And he was like, "I don't know. They just did."
Well, and that's fair. Probably.
Yeah.
That's probably exactly what happened. How did they do
Sure.
it? They did.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
I don't
There's
know.
a show about a man that travels through time in a box that's bigger on the
I hate
inside.
you
This is what you have
so
a problem with?
I just mean, they've talked about this for 9 seasons now. Gallifrey, it's lost. It's so
Right.
lost in time that me, the time traveler, cannot find it.
He wasn't looking.
And-
He didn't
and then-
think, it's in Maine. I just got to drive up to Maine and I'll find it.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, there it was.
Oh,
It's always the
found
last
it.
place you look.
I found it. All right, we can go home now.
So yeah, no, I enjoyed the return of Gallifrey, and
I did too.
in all its glory. So
Hey, the house he was in was his house that he grew up in. It was his
that's
tiny
right. It was
little.
the barn. Yeah, it
was the
was
barn.
The barn too. Yeah.
That's kind of adorable. And that well, at least I feel like that woman that he sees, she was the one who was the woman when Clara goes back there.
Yeah.
Right?
She cracked me up. Yeah.
She was hilarious.
I bet.
Jeez.
Yeah. Every time she came in, it was like she was gonna say something, but words never came out of her mouth. That cracked me up.
I do like the inference that his return is like he's the prodigal son. They're all happy he's back. They're so happy to see him, but then they're like, "Oh crap, what did you do?" So every time she runs in to say something, she just can't get the words out because she's like, if I say it, he's gonna get angry at me. But
Yes.
he probably needs to know they're here for him. Him drawing the line in the sand killed me.
Yeah, that was great too. All right, so let's talk about this. We got Clara and the Doctor, and the Doctor. This whole episode, I was expecting this thing about he gets to Gallifrey. What did they do to him? He's so mad. He's gonna fight them, and this whole thing just turned out to be this whole plot he had to save Clara from the Raven. And I thought that blew my mind. I was like, he must. It really showed, how he felt about her, and it totally put all the stuff. Everything in the last episode, in Heaven Sent, his time in there was, and he decided not to tell, just so he could break out of there, so he had some leverage against the Time Lords to do this thing for Clara. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and I like. Yeah, you're right. And it wasn't. That was his goal. That was his end goal. I think everything else he got to do, he did because it was fun for him. Banishing Rassilon because he knew he could. Getting rid of the High Council. They deserved it, and he was getting his wrath on them for the crap they pulled. But knew the whole time it was inevitably going to lead them back to the hybrid and then getting Clara.
Yes.
So, of all the plot threads left untalked about, the hybrid. So, there was no real information. They all kind of talk about it.
Yes. I love that scene when he gets to the end of the universe, the very, very end, and he sees me there. She's in some sort of time bubble that she's created or something, watching the stars die. And they talk about all these different kinds of hybrids. Oh, it was supposed to be Dalek and Time Lord. And then it was like, oh, but wait, Doctor, I heard a rumor that you're half human. And they went through all of our theories that we did. But then but no, that's stupid. Here's what it really is. Here's what I really think it is. And I guess they still left it really open-ended, but I think they were trying to hint that the hybrid was supposed to be Clara and the Doctor together. Was the hybrid. And that they were a dangerous force together.
Yeah, but
based on his actions alone. Yeah,
that was Mayor Mee's theory.
True.
That, you gotta look at the conversations they had. The conversation that happens on Gallifrey with the Doctor, with the General, with the Sisterhood of Karn, and they talk about the hybrid, and he keeps trying to get them to say what they know for sure. Not just don't BS me. Come on, just say it. So, stories foretold. Excuse me, say it again. All stories foretold. Excuse me, say it again. All prophecies foretell. There you go. So we know it's something that the people of Gallifrey know is coming. We know he's frightened of it. We now get that that's why he runs away from Gallifrey in the first place. But then when he has that conversation with Mayor Mee, what's interesting is that, she's leading this conversation, right? It seems obvious that she's kind of bullying him into giving her, this is what it is, Doctor. I know what it is. And she's getting him to say yes. But the whole time he's manipulating her, because every time she says, aren't you half human? And he could easily have just gone, yeah, well, I guess. So instead he subverts it. He goes around it. He says, what does that have to do? No one knows. Whatever he said. But he just kind of sideswipes it, steps around it so he doesn't have to answer it. And he keeps getting her to lead the conversation to wherever it is that she wanted to go. Because I honestly think when you watch this episode, the Doctor is just sick and tired of all the talk. And he knows everyone's going to talk, and he just wants to cut to the chase. And no one else will do it. No one will cut to the chase for him, so he has to do it himself. I think that's Mayor Mee's assumption, that it had to do with the Doctor and Clara together. I don't think that's what they're referring to. I think the hybrid is a thing. I think it's the Doctor. I think they're just talking about Gallifrey in ruins and the Doctor being the last of the Time Lords. Whether that means the Time War, whether that means something to come, that's fine. I just think the hybrid means someone who's not necessarily a pure Gallifreyan or a pure Time Lord, someone who's of two worlds. So sure. I don't think Moffat was trying to, this is what we really meant. I think he was trying to show that everybody has an opinion on it, and the Doctor doesn't really care. He just wants to fix his friend.
Yeah,
that's how it seems
I like
to
that.
me.
No, I can see that. I really did like even if it wasn't the explanation, even if they did come out and say, yeah, that's exactly what we meant, I'm okay with that, because I actually liked that. I liked the idea of it was this whole thing about Clara and the Doctor together, and they basically pushed each other to the limits so far that the Doctor was willing to, fracture time just to pull her out of it and save her. And then the whole thing oh, who put you guys together? Oh, it was Missy, the lover of chaos. She knew that you guys would push each other to the limit, and so I kind of liked that. I was like, oh, that's the hybrid thing that would destroy time or whatever. So that was kind of a cool little twist that I liked.
But it's a good explanation, and I honestly I like that this episode leaves it open ended, that we can revisit the idea of the hybrid again in season 10 or 11 or 12 or whenever you want to bring that back. And you're right, it's very interesting that everyone has this sort of theory. I do love that we had not a confirmation. Okay, let's because it's not really confirmed, but second time in the history of the show, someone brings up the Doctor's half human, The first time it was the doctor, and everyone goes,
Yes.
no, we don't want to believe that. We don't want to believe that. Guys, we got a second person here who clearly knows that that's the way it is. Whether the doctor
Yes, that is
confirms it or not.
huge. Yeah. That's a huge thing in the show that they even mentioned it. Like, they even... Yeah.
So, I mean, I know the doctor doesn't confirm it. In fact, I'm pretty sure his response is, "So that's what you think," or something something along those lines. He gives her sort of this brush off. He's trying to manipulate her, letting her think she's leading the conversation. But honestly, like, that it's apparently just knowledge, that it's something that somebody knows, whether she learned it from Grace or she just learned it from the Time Lords or learned it over time. I don't know, but it's good to hear that again, so it's not just this erroneous line that we all kind of retconned out of our brains.
Yeah.
You know, it's possible he is half human.
That movie doesn't count.
I think it does.
Yeah, I think it does too.
I really, while we're on the subject of it too, real quick, I wanted to mention, I like that this episode ties back to season 8, to the episode with Orson Pink. Remember,
yes.
The Doctor goes to the very end of time when all that's left is this one planet that they're on, and there's something outside knocking on the door. He even says, it's not Hyde. What was the name of the episode?
Listen.
Listen. So he says, you know, what if there was a creature who had learned to perfect hiding, right? That was the ultimate evolutionary goal of this particular creature. What is Mayor Me's ultimate thing? Is that she blends into the background, that she controls things from the background, right? That she hides herself from the Doctor and protects others who have been affected by him. So I like to think that this is the throwback. What was knocking on that door at the end of time? There's only one person who it could have been there, and it's her. And we know that because he sees her again in this episode.
Yeah.
I really, really like that.
So are you saying she was under the blanket and listen? It was her. On the bed.
Maybe. No.
It's just imagining her being under there, not saying
giggling.
a word. Yeah.
Like later that night, "Dear Diary, today I spooked the Doctor. I hid under a blanket." Tee-hee.
Yeah.
Like,
you know what I also loved about that too is, speaking of knocking, when she knocks on the TARDIS door, he goes, "Oh, it's always 4 knocks." I loved that little reference. That's great. That's perfect.
Everything about that scene was beautiful.
Yeah.
It really was.
Yeah. So his plan, and then we get this scene here at the end. His plan was he was going to save her. She's basically frozen in time. She's been pulled out of time between one heartbeat and the next, so she doesn't have a heartbeat. She's basically immortal. But her existence being there is fracturing time. And his plan was he was going to make her forget about him, so the Time Lords couldn't find her, and then let her live a life. But we get this whole switcheroo with the forgetful thingamabob, and he ends up, yes,
switcheroo
ends, yes, the memorizer matron, and he
we like
he
to
ends
call
up
it the Donna.
her. Yes.
Oh.
He ends up forgetting her, and I loved the sort of back and forth of the reveal of this. You're like, oh, it's the Doctor. He's looking for Clara, and maybe he's found one of her echoes at this diner. Oh, no, it's the Doctor. He's telling Clara this story, but Clara doesn't remember him. Oh, no, actually, this is actually Clara, and she remembers, but the Doctor doesn't remember. Like, it was this whole... As you went through the episode, it changed, and I thought that was really cool.
Well, and that's... Moffat writes his best work when he's writing something that's a little timey-wimey. When he can write stuff that kind of, near the end, affected the beginning differently. So when you go back and watch it a second time, you have a different experience.
Right.
I was a little freaked out. I loved that it was that diner. I didn't even think about it being that diner.
Yeah. Yeah, and then you get that thing where he's like, wait, we were here. Oh, no, it was Amy and Rory. You know, like he's remembering it.
Right.
Like, oh yeah.
His magic straw gives it extra fizz.
Extra fizz, yes.
That TARDIS though.
Yeah, that was cool.
Oh, that TARDIS though. How
retro
gorgeous
design.
was it to see? Yeah.
Yeah. The original TARDIS interior, and but like not 1963 black and white. It was like it's just really beautiful and simple and white and shiny and pretty.
Yeah, it was. Well, it's the Hartnell TARDIS.
Yeah, definitely.
Complete with the little reflector thing on the ceiling. I loved that.
Yeah.
So we're pretty much left with Clara and Mayor Me traveling through time and space as a new Doctor and companion.
Yeah, that was pretty neat.
Wouldn't those two be more of a hybrid? I don't know.
Maybe. My thought is, how long can they keep this up? Like she says, oh, we can take a detour. There's a little bit of wiggle room. And I'm like, well, but how long actually before time starts fracturing?
And maybe
people are
that's the thing that he has to face next season.
It's like, I know you have a time machine, but like it's still you still have to go back, and they eventually do, it was what she says. And so time doesn't fracture, but it's like how many adventures did they get to go on before it became a problem?
Right. I like to imagine that should be a web series. And they should just hire Jenna Coleman and Maisie Williams, put them in an old TARDIS, and just have them 5-minute episodes traveling through space and time.
I would not be surprised if some audio adventures came out of this.
Let me tell you something. That would be super cool, too.
Yeah, that would be great.
There are so many audio adventures. I was looking them up today. I was looking on the Wikipedia page for it, like the list of all the different seasons. There is just so much. I didn't realize how much is out there. This should add to it. Should be more.
Yes. So we have the Doctor has forgotten, but not really forgotten. He still remembers a little bit. So
right.
So my question is, what exactly does he remember? From the conversation, he says, I remember there was a ice warrior on a submarine and a mummy on the Orient Express. So he remembers a few of the... He obviously hasn't forgotten lots of different things, which is good, because he needs some of that information of those adventures, in his life. But so he's forgotten, though he doesn't remember exactly what she looks like. He knows her name was Clara. He knows he traveled with her. He remembers the adventures, but he doesn't remember the person, I guess.
And can we all just assume that when she and the diner take off like a TARDIS, can he go, wait a minute, I bet that was Clara in a TARDIS?
Yeah.
Like, how does he not remember still?
Yeah, I have to assume that she takes off. He's like, wait a minute, that was a TARDIS. And then sees his own TARDIS with the picture of Clara painted on it and goes, oh, that was her. He didn't do that in the episode, but I have to assume that that's what's going on in his mind.
Or he's going, that's bizarre. I've never known a diner to suddenly disappear before. Who graffitied my TARDIS? And why is there a picture of the Queen on there? Burns off.
But if you think about it, it's kind of beautiful because he's been looking for her. He knows, oh, I just talked. If we go with our theory, he goes, oh, I just talked to her. That was her. And he doesn't run off and go to find her. He lets her go and realizes that it's that she does need to die. She's going to go back to Gallifrey and all this stuff. And I think that was kind of beautiful. That sort of
that is very.
Yeah, that he didn't go, oh, that was her, I gotta go find her, and he just kind of, moved on.
What did she say to him at the seal? She tells him something. We don't hear what it is.
Right.
And then later they talk about how, she says, what if you could remember by playing a song on the guitar? Yeah,
or the memories are stories we forget. Or stories are memories we forget, but what if instead of stories they're a song? which I loved that he was playing Clara's theme on the guitar, like when he walked into the thing. That was really cool. I don't know. I'm assuming, this is my theory, that what she said to him was, "Run, you clever boy, and be a doctor." Like, that's what I'm assuming she said to him. Because they talk about it, like, right before then, and then he goes in the TARDIS, and there it is on the blackboard. That's what's written on the board, yeah. So that's what I'm assuming. Or it could just be one of those things, like, we never know what she said to him, but...
Well, if it's Moffat, we'll never know, because he likes leaving little open-ended plot points that nobody ever figures out, and he's just never going to talk about it again. He doesn't care. He's like, whatever. I got better stuff to do. Hey, I got to go write Sherlock Season 4. And 7 years later.
Yeah. But first, a Christmas special.
That doesn't matter. It's not even in continuity.
No.
Dude, new screwdriver.
Yes! I am so sorry. That's probably going to be loud on the podcast, but I'm so excited about this freaking screwdriver. Okay. I will have to admit, though, I'm a little... I will miss the glasses. I will definitely miss him whipping them on before saying something. That was one of the best things about this new Doctor in this new season. The hybrid slips on his glasses. It was me. Yeah!
Doctor, you have to Sonic your way through it. Don't worry, I'll Sonic. He puts them on all the things. But he is the Caruso of the Doctor Who show. It's so true.
But this screwdriver looks amazing.
Oh, it's so amazing.
I loved Tennant's and Eccleston's screwdriver. I was okay with Matt Smith's. I wasn't a huge fan, and I was actually pretty let down when they didn't come up with a new one when Capaldi started last season. Yeah. I was so disappointed, but now this thing is so cool, and I want it so badly. I'm sure they haven't even made it yet, but I want one so badly.
It's coming,
it's so
I'm sure.
Cool looking. Yeah.
I am very excited, and it's I like the new I like the sonic screwdriver. I like when he uses it like a magic wand. I know people gave Tennant a lot of crap for that, but I love the idea that he's like this techno mage that just uses technology like magic, and he has this magic wand that can do all these crazy cool things. And yeah, you don't have to write it into the script. Oh, I got to a locked door. How am I going to get through it? I better use the sonic screwdriver. But isn't it cooler when you're running and you're like, locked door, don't worry, I got this. And it unlocks, and then he puts on the sonic glasses, and he's like, Sonic all the things. Wow! And then he like does a jump kick through it while playing the guitar. That is going to happen.
Yes.
That's my prediction for the Christmas special. But yes, I love the new set. And it lights up, and it just it looks very Capaldi.
Yeah, it's going to be cool. And I can't wait to see it in action next episode. So, let's see. What else do we have on here?
There's a couple... Okay.
Some questions.
So, there are some questions left unanswered. Okay? And, look, guys. You've been listening to the 8 fans we have out there. You've been listening to this podcast for a long time. So, I don't want you to feel like I'm saying the same things over and over again. So this time, I'm going to mix it up a little and not say the same things. Here we go. Ready? Da-da-da-da-da-da. How did the Master escape? That's crazy sauce to me. He was fighting Rassilon, and clearly Rassilon regenerated. Clearly the Master became Missy. Well, how did he escape? That's crazy stuff. And what is Missy's plan with the Daleks, right? She sets up this whole, I've got a wicked idea. Will that be in season 10?
I hope.
Okay, that's the most new stuff I can give you, because then the other question is, who was Prisoner Zero? Moffat.
You know what
Why would you leave this unopened? Why would you not answer this question? Why was this not what every person asks him every minute of every day? Hey, by the way, remember that first episode you wrote? Really gonna need an answer to that question you left unopened. You left open there and unanswered. Come on, Moffat. God, get your head in the game. Okay, sorry.
If we ever get to some sort of Comic-Con and we get to ask a question at the panel, this will be our question. We will not squander this opportunity.
Bear with me, Moffat. I have a question for you. The question is, who is Prisoner Zero? But before you ask, I just want to pose this to you so you understand why you left this as a question. And then I'll go through the whole thing. And then when I'm done, I'll say, for the love of God, who was it? He even teased it for Time of the Doctor. Right before Matt Smith regenerated, he teased. He's like, forget who Prisoner Zero was. This is literally what Moffat said in an interview. He says, forget who Prisoner Zero was. Who took control of the TARDIS? And I'm like, who cares? Somebody. That doesn't matter. Answer your first question. That was the end of the season. I'm at the beginning.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, you know what I want for next season? I want Missy to come back, but only for maybe a two-parter in the episode, in the series. Just she's there, and then she's not part of the beginning or the end. You know what I mean? I just want her to I want the mistress to show up for one part of it, and then she's defeated and runs away, and then to come back later. Something like that. I think that would be good.
But can we all please agree no more two-parters? Ever. Serialize it or don't. But come on.
Yes.
You're killing me with this.
Yeah, let's go back. I'm happy to go back to the all single episodes, or even the single episodes with the two-parters.
Yeah, I loved the old format. There was a two-parter in the first half, there was a two-parter in the second half, and a two-parter finale. And that was great. That's 6 out of the 12 episodes. The other 6 were all single episodes. The first episode was certainly a single episode, and it was interesting. It was exciting. You knew.
Yes.
And for all of you listening, we are going to do a Series 9 wrap-up podcast coming in the next few weeks, where I will go on more about how much I hated the format of this. Thanks for listening. To the 4 people left being our fans. And that'll go down to 3.
Yes. Well, some quotes that I loved on this episode.
There were so many good quotes.
Many good ones. One of my favorites was, Doctor, lay down your weapons, and you will accompany us to the Capitol. Dramatic laying down of the spoon.
He's deadly with a spoon.
Because he can fight with it. A spoon is a weapon to him. And it was such it was a subtle thing. It wasn't really oh, spoon? Well, I better put down my weapon. It was it was very subtle. So but I caught it, and I loved it. I also loved, they were he was I need to do something. And they were oh, do you want our help? He's like, help? Not from you lot. You'll cramp my style.
I really loved that his first line was "Get off my planet."
Yeah.
This episode was more Doctor Who for me than almost any episode has been with Capaldi. That's why I love this episode so much.
Yeah.
It was so David Tennant. It was so Chris Eccleston. And I loved that. He was pissed.
Yes. Speaking of David Tennant, another one of my favorite lines is he's telling Claire all those things to do. He realizes, I'm the one who's going to forget. So he's telling her all these things to do. And one of them was, never eat pears. They're quite squishy and they always make your chin wet. And I love that because it was a callback to, Tennant. Oh, I hate pears. Don't let me eat a pear. As the 10th Doctor when he was in the
right.
The fob watch thing. I can't remember what it's called, but yeah. So I love that. The Doctor's hatred of pears is still going strong.
I did love the Dalek in the Matrix with his exterminate me.
That was great.
From the beginning of the season, remember the Daleks don't have a term for love or forgiveness or, peace or surrender. It's all exterminate. So he's screaming for help. And I love that it comes out as exterminate me.
Exterminate me, yeah. It was really creepy. And something I'd never heard, I don't think we've ever heard a Dalek say that before.
Nope, I don't think so either.
Not that I can remember. So it was really creepy to hear. He was exterminate me. It was just like, oh my god. Yeah.
But you're right. Go ahead. Yeah.
I was just saying, and then of course the last quote I have was "Run, you clever boy, and be a doctor," which was fantastic. It was a great callback to her beginnings, but then also showed it wasn't the same line. She didn't say "and remember," which because he can't remember, but also it was.
Well, that was
he
from
realized,
the 50th.
Yeah.
When he asks her, so what do I do? She says, have you forgotten? He says, maybe, yes, but you tell me, what do I do? And she says, what you've always done, be a doctor. She's telling him, it's time, be a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. I have decided that on my deathbed, my final words will very likely be, run, you clever boy, and remember, and I'll just die. Slade. Like, that will be, people will be like, what?
Yeah, your son will be like, huh?
I guess he wants us to join a marathon. All right, so let's go.
Yes, yeah.
They all just
all right.
Everybody just
and go to medical school.
Yeah, they all just pile out of my room, and I'm just lying there. A little morbid humor for y'all at the end of this podcast.
All right, so final thoughts, Matt.
Final thoughts. Man, talk about ending a season with the strongest episode you've got. We get a real sense of legacy with this episode. I am so happy with how this season ended. We understand much more about the Doctor and his past and why he has done so many of the things he's done. We're privy to some locations which have cropped up in recent seasons, and the plot threads left hanging since the very first episode of New Who are all starting to come together. Gallifrey has returned! Woo! Hopefully they have some sort of one-night event where they open up the Citadel for all races to come see it. Some sort of red carpet event. But this was more Doctor Who than any episode has been in a long time. If this is the kind of showing that Moffat can bring for Season 10, then I'm all in.
Yeah. I agree. This was simply amazing. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be this whole epic Gallifrey, showdown, and it was for a little bit, but then it turned out to be this amazing story about the Clara and the Doctor and how far they were going to go for each other. And we really got this sweet ending for Clara, and who honestly is my favorite companion of the new series. I loved her, so I think this was a great ending for her. She gets to be the Doctor. She's been becoming the Doctor this whole time, and what does she get? She gets her own TARDIS, her own companion, and she gets to go off and have a few adventures. And yeah, I mean, this was an amazing ending to this series, and one of the strongest finales in a long time. So, bravo.
Calculating. Voices from the Vortex gives Hellbent 10 out of 10.
Oh my god, that promo. Oh my god, that promo.
Yeah, it's coming.
River! Oh, my heart skipped a beat when I saw it. Oh yes! I love River Song. She is my favorite love story for the Doctor. I am so glad to see her back. I have missed her. Oh, so
this
wonderful.
episode's gonna be great. It's gonna be really great.
The hell was she carrying? A sonic what?
It's a sonic trowel. It's a
Why?
shovel. Don't know.
Well, I mean,
because she's an archaeologist.
Hold on. Yeah, okay. So she's like, I've got to dig a whole... What, you never had a late night and had to dig a whole bunch? I get it. But really? Really, River? Really?
Never had a late night and a lot of flowers to plant?
Sonic Trap.
Sonic Trap. That's great. I need to see this thing in action. Yeah, I need to see how it digs sonically. I need to know.
That's not a thing. That can't be a thing.
It's just the ground vibrates and a hole blows out a hole.
I love it.
Yeah, this episode just looks super fun too. Like
right?
This series has been so dramatic. Like everything about it has just been so dramatic. And there was a couple of really, fun times and fun episodes. I mean, I think, the girl who died was really kind of a fun episode, but with not a fun title. But this Christmas special is going to be what we need. It's got River. The doctor,
right.
He's lost his companion, but he's gonna go off and be a doctor. We're gonna see him moved on now.
Right.
And it just looks like they're gonna have just a lot of fun. It's gonna be a wacky adventure.
Well, and
some guy with his head off. Yeah.
Moffat said it's going to be Mr. and Mrs. Who. This is the glory years of their marriage. They are an old married couple having a lot of fun. Very Spencer Tracy and Hepburn. Katharine Hepburn.
Yeah.
So, I'm all about this.
Yeah, and what's cool is... Yeah, and what's cool is this is River still, obviously, before the library, but it's after Angels Take Manhattan. So it's after that point. So it's sort of in that spot before going to the library still. But now she knows who he is and everything. So we're going to see the latest adventure, basically.
And I like to think that she has this whole life with further on future doctors. She made it sound like she knew multiple doctors, but Tennant was the youngest she'd ever seen him. So that leads me to believe that Capaldi, she could have adventures with, maybe even the person after Capaldi or the person after that. She has this whole life with these other doctors that's very important to her, obviously. And I love that idea. I love that we're about to see the beginning of a truly great chronicle of River Song.
Yeah, and there's supposed to be this kind of thing where she doesn't know it's him at first. It's like she doesn't recognize him.
Because she
doesn't know. It's going to be kind of fun. Yeah, it'll be kind of fun. So yeah, and it's called The Husbands of River Song. So what could that mean?
What could that... How many husbands, River? Jeez. Hey guys, I want to thank you very much for not just listening today, but for coming along with us on the ride of Season 9. I know for some of us it's been a tough ride. I know some of you out there I've talked to... It's a little bumpy. Have not... our biggest complaint has been the format. We'll go over all this with our wrap-up after the Christmas special, but... yeah, I know how you're feeling, but I think we saw the strongest showing of this season at the end. I think the second half, the bottom half of this season, was phenomenal. And I just want to say, from us, thank you so much for listening. We've got so much more ahead. Season 10 is right around the corner, and we keep up with our monthly podcasts. Keep up with everything we do because. We appreciate all of you, and I just wanted to say thank you guys for joining us for Series 9, and we will see you soon.
Yes, I reflect that sentiment as well. Thank you so much for listening, guys. We will see you all after Christmas for the Christmas special review. So thanks for listening, and remember... I don't know. I don't have... Remember, don't forget.
just run, you clever boys and girls.
Yes.
And remember.
Yes, and remember. All right.
To the Vortex.
Good night, everybody. Yes, away.
This has been another Voices from the Vortex review, Series 9, starring Matthew Whitecamp as Matt the Time Lord, Taylor Davidson as Taylor the Time Lord, and Danielle Davidson as the TARDIS. All views expressed are the opinions of the two dudes from Gallifrey, and as such should be taken extremely seriously. Follow Voices from the Vortex on all social media, including Facebook, Tumblr, and Twitter. If you have any questions regarding the podcast, please email us at voicesfromthevortex@gmail.com. Doctor Who and all related material is copyright BBC. No infringement of copyright is intended. All originally written material is fan fiction of a satirical nature. Please, Mr. Moffat, don't sue. See you next time in the Vortex.
Temporal flight engaged. Returning to the vortex. End of transmission.